This is Natalie, your friendly neighborhood birdie, and I welcome you back to Plumbella's Nightmare Build Challenge on my results from last time. When I said I was thinking about just redoing it without her rules, because I kind of like the shell I ended up with, I think I'm gonna keep the room count, and I'm gonna keep the pastels, but I'm gonna get away with the money restriction and also with the bullshit amount of Sims in one home. Like, it's just too much. Okay, first of all, let's see what we can rearrange. I want a smaller frame. The joy of using Motherload. I missed you, Motherload. Initially, I wanted the living room to be a bit bigger now. But of course, that way I really can't have a downstairs bathroom, which I think I should. Or I'm gonna put the downstairs bathroom in here. It would be an incredibly weird room. I just want to have an area where they can eat, but also a bathroom and a roomy living room without making this shell much larger. Am I asking for too much when I'm asking for everything at once? Maybe? I mean, maybe. This placement here looks a little off, right? This looks better. I think I'm gonna stick with this door, maybe. Because I actually kind of like it. And I think I'm also gonna mostly stick with the windows from that pack. So I did keep the room count. This used to be a room. Now it's maybe a nook, more so. This is now exactly the same size it was before. Just with a window there. Maybe no window there. I don't know. Let's go upstairs. First of all, delete. We'll see what we do about these rooms. Maybe we'll also switch around sizing and positioning of things, because I do not need to have room for a specific amount of stuff. This could be a big room. Like, maybe this is a 2-bedroom one, and this could be an office space. And this is a 2nd bedroom. Maybe we can give this hallway space to this room. And we have 2 bathrooms, which is always better for gameplay, especially one downstairs for one upstairs. And a space for eating too. I would like it to be more closed off, but I just said I would keep the amount of rooms, so technically I cannot. What I can do this time around, by the way, is also later change the lighting to something more suitable, which I'm also excited for. First of all, do I find something better suited for the wallpaper in the hallway? We picked blue for the doorknobs, kind of, and because it was the best we could get, but maybe I can find something better that's more expensive, maybe, because we kind of didn't have the option to go expensive. And Queen and Victorian could also mean something like this. We are in the pastel realm still. We are not gonna go dark. We keep the pastel rule. But, how about we go a little fancier? Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with this yellow. It's quite nice for Queen and Victorian. Also, I'm gonna, if I don't forget, gonna do some slight changes on the outside shell, because I'm gonna actually decorate it. If you can believe that. Because I can. Gonna keep this wallpaper here because I actually think it's quite fitting. But I'm gonna do basically everything else different. I may keep that, so maybe not everything else, but I'm excited to start with the kitchen. I want to use this. It's very Victorian. Alternatively, this one, but it's a little bit more Art Deco. I think this cheaper alternative was a good one. But like, when else am I ever gonna be able to use this here? Fortunately, it doesn't come in any good colors. It's more classic Victorian, where it's actually pretty dark. Maybe I do keep the icebox. At least it comes in white. Or even pink. Well, so first of all, we'll scroll all the way down to the expensive counters. There are the vampire ones that are unfortunately not at all pastel. And there are the witchy ones that match the style here, but are a bit more Art Deco than they are Victorian or Queen Anne. I do think they would work. It's just we have to be careful in this room not to push it too far to the Art Deco side. Yeah, let's go with the magic counters. And since we now have eating outside, we can actually go all the way around here. Alternatively, I go down this route from the cottage pack. It works well with the colors we have in the floor and wallpaper. It's pastel and it still technically fits the style because it's a little bit old-timey, but it's not very rustic at all. It's very bright and pastel-y here, which is still part of the challenge that I have not pushed away from me. I like to put these pieces that are usually supposed to go on these outside corners, on inside corners, much more so than the actual inside corner pieces, because those are usually giant and weird, and these outside corner pieces are often very cute. I don't think there really is a Victorian trash can option, so I'm just opting for something wooden. Oh, also, we should put radiators in all rooms. I'm just placing it here so I don't forget. Like in all bedrooms. Maybe more rooms. We'll see. I think that's kind of neat. This to bring in some of the green of the floor again. So, since we can now use actual wall decor, I want some dried herbs and everything else. Maybe like this. That looks good. Brings back the pastel yellow. We don't have a hood for the stove, so maybe we'll instead have a vent. Which would mean we would have to have one here too. I really want to incorporate most of the colors we see on the walls and the floor. Like on top of this. It should be more further out. It should be further out. For a little bit of privacy. It's not exactly Victorian or Queen Anne with the pattern, but I think the frilliness of having little curtains there, if we squint a little. It's a bit rustic, yes, but it could be original from the time, because what we're doing here is building a modern home in a Victorian Queen Anne house. And I assume that anybody who wants to move there would also like to have some original pieces if they can get their hands on. And really, this could be from any time. A pot of tea, because that feels Victorian to me. And a rooster next to the sunflowers. Maybe the sunflowers can go on that wall, actually. These kinds of lights seem fitting too. I just size it down because it's too massive for my liking. And before I go and see about the dining arrangements, I want to do the living room. Specifically, I want to do a proper fireplace. And I don't know, I think I want it on that wall, where the sim is currently in the way. This is not at all too large for the room. This would be perfect in color, but it's very, very clearly Art Deco and not even like just a little bit. But the color and size are so perfect. This one is just so large. And I don't like to size down fireplaces because when the fire is burning, that looks really, really weird. Maybe this one could work, and I could even get it in some fun colors to really drive home the pastel theme. Let's see about that. Hey, I still like this radio. I'm not sure I like the side table. And I want to have one of these clocks. I don't know if I want them in the living room. That's already very cramped. Let's see, let's see. Oh, wow. I forgot about this. This matches the couch table. And this is what I... Like, in the first video I said sometimes the cataloging is weird. Like, this is classified as Queen Anne. This one from the same series isn't. It's just weird. You can never trust it. Now we can have a TV. Do we want one? I would almost say yes. Because while I said, well, a Victorian home doesn't need one, and that was true, it doesn't need one. It was also kind of sad when it didn't have one, because there's so little entertainment going on. I think I want to see about the wallpaper right now, because there's so little color going on in this room. Maybe we can use the one we already have, but in a swatch matching the fireplace. Because sometimes people do paint the fireplace in matching colors. It's a little wild. But I might like it because it's wild. Like, ignore this. Let's just ignore it. This is very, very bougie. So this sofa may be an unconventional choice, but I want to go down the little, like, wicked route of Victorian and Queen Anne, not the bougie route, because the bougie route just looked very displaced in a small room like this. I have mixed light wood with white wood. I don't think that's a problem, honestly, because the light wood has white as a contrast and also white wooden ornaments. I also want to have the stack of books next to this. Or like multiple stack of books. I kind of like the aesthetic for Victorian things with like a lot of books. Because I think I associate it with libraries a little bit. I kind of don't want this window here. But then this window up there might be weird. But I could go for a double window there, because I have that space now. And maybe that wouldn't be weird. I'm not happy with the wallpaper anymore. Maybe just one color is enough. And we need a rug. It's really hard to find a rug the right size for this space. I'll just turn this around so you don't really see the anchor. Well, you still see it, but maybe I can place something smaller in front of it. You can't tell anymore. And now, better lighting. A lot of candles together with a fireplace could be very cozy, but I do think we need some electrical light here. It's just starting to be very, very dark. Going back to this one, I think. Now the eating nook and hallway. A long, long table would be cool, but I think the nook is a little small for that. We would have to put it right against the wall, and I don't think that looks too nice. With like a super tall chair to the end here. Kind of like that. Like the head of the table kind of situation. Oh, also I wanted to use these. I remember. This is now like the light switch situation. Now I will have to put it everywhere and I will forget. I'm gonna use this one in the hallway too. Maybe here in this nook that I don't know what to do with. We need to be careful here because this could be very much looking too samey. Maybe I'll use this one instead. This is good. It adds the blue again. I want something smaller to its side too, ideally. Some cake. In the hallway. I don't know. I mean, we could also just say that we're gonna do a side table on that wall. But then I would want to have it like this. And would the head of the table be in the middle of the room? I mean, maybe, because then the head of the table doesn't have to squeeze in this wall section here. Well, let's try. Maybe a chandelier? Let's go really fancy. I mean, it's a chandelier in the wrong style. Again, more 20s Art Deco. But I think you can tell the sentiment of it. I don't think we have a real fitting chandelier otherwise. It's a little large for the table, right? With candles, it's always a little iffy with the flames. I know that. We'll just say the Victorian house is haunted. Please ignore it. I just want a little candelabra, that's all. Okay. This part of the hallway is still in need of some attention, I think. I like that this has an insect on it. Here's the big clock. Don't know what I'm gonna do here exactly. Initially I thought office space upstairs and then have a bookcase to the side, but maybe the upstairs is more of like a private and sleep and relaxation space, and downstairs is the, and you know, have people over, work kind of space. Can use this one if it comes in pastels. Doesn't come exactly how I want it. It does come in white, but everything else downstairs is not white in this hallway. That's a little annoying, but it does have the cream. Just if I do it like this. And I know I've used this as a dining chair, but in another color swatch, so it might work. But if I do it like this and reverse the white and cream, it may not look so out of place. And then if we have this designated space now and no financial troubles, I can give a computer, but I want to make it old-timey looking. This is a little cramped. We need books. Ideally many, actually. If I make it a little smaller. It's still pretty tall. But it's less oppressive. And another idea I had was, you know those old Victorian offices that have these globe bars? Well, it's not always... Victorian offices, I guess. I'll have to playtest this later, but I think a globe bar in this kind of office is pretty cool. Even though it's a little cramped too. I want this to feel a little cramped, but not too much. It's a delicate balance, because to me Victorian is also kind of like a little bit maximalist, but not necessarily in the need to be very rich for it, just collecting a lot of stuff and having tight corridors that are stuffed with a lot of items and pictures and decorations. But if you overdo it, it just looks uncomfortable and like everything's too much. Is this pastel enough? No, right? I don't think round rugs are the best choice for Victorian themes, but the pattern works. So let's see about curtains first. Is this too much? It's too much. It's way too much. Abort mission. A blue flower, yeah. That's good. But I don't want to put too much in there. As I said, I'm going for a little bit stuffed, but not totally cramped. Okay, I would like a little rug here as well. Maybe one that's just longer, like that. Something like green here, yeah. Getting the green door back in. Okay, so downstairs bathroom. I think I'm keeping the tiles that I picked in the initial challenge, because I don't think I found a lot of alternatives even with the expensive ones. Okay, I'm gonna change the appliances though, because I had to go for the cheapest stuff last time, and this time I want to treat my family of Sims. Although I do think I picked this toilet and I still think that fits. Or, oh no, I'm gonna take this one, heck yeah. I remember I wanted to take this, but it was too expensive. I'm still gonna have like the soap bar, because that's just more Victorian than like liquid soap. I think I want to keep the window there. It's better, but that also means I have a lot of dead space on this wall, because I can't really put a lot of things here. I hope a curtain helps, and maybe a plant or something. And maybe a floor mat. And maybe a picture too. And of course a better light. Oh, maybe I know what to do to make it less empty. A radiator. I like how these picture frames are all different pastel colors. Right on theme. Okay. Main bedroom first. I think I want to keep the rug, so that makes the color theme clear. We can maybe keep the wallpaper even. I love this one. And the top of it would definitely qualify for the pastel. But then it has dark wood. And I think that destroys it. I keep the old bed. I would have loved to take the one with the glass roof. A little bit more of the pastel colors. Oh, this is good. This is good. I hope it comes in the right colors. I didn't check. And then maybe a seat there. This is very fitting. would be a way to bring back some of the light wood. But the colors are slightly off. Maybe some white to get the mirror back. And I think I'm gonna put some books in here. Yeah, that's nice. A little bit of stuff, a little bit of recreational things to do. Maybe a bit more of the alchemy. And now some better lights. Maybe like this. And then some wall light there. Okay. I would say this is gonna be the bedroom. I'm gonna do this later. Other rooms first. Kids' room. I'm still very much behind the idea of giving the kid a little Victorian house to play with. So that means it's not a teen room, but a kid's room. And I think I'm gonna keep the playful wallpaper too. Which means this can stay because it still fits. I think we'll make it an only child. That's just easier. Oh, maybe this bed. I mean, the bedding doesn't really work. But the bed frame, though. Maybe this, though, with a canopy? A self-made canopy? It has this headboard that I find very fitting for a Victorian kids bed. I kind of hoped it would look better. So this for the pastels maybe, but it's too square. Maybe this one. Maybe I focus on the pastel more than the Victorian for the mirror. Can I use the same dresser twice? Is that illegal? Probably. I'm not a fan of doing the same thing twice. Now, this is a kid's room, so we obviously need toys. And I want to use the toy chest that I used in the first build, because that's just utterly Victorian. Like, look at that. I know it's on the floor, so it's like for little kids, but it's annoying on the floor. Made it a little bit smaller, so it's not that overpowering. And I'm gonna use this to mimic like these Victorian porcelain dolls. And I know they are like fake dolls from the Paranormal Activity pack, but I want this to be functional too. A little night light, always important. So, regarding activities, I think a Victorian child should play the violin. And this time it's not too expensive, because I control the money. Ha ha ha. This is the perfect mix between Victorian and children. This one, yeah, I love this one for a kid's room. This is less Victorian, more child and pastels. Even the keys, because I remember I had a key collection when I was a kid. Was just collecting them. All old keys that did nothing. I loved having them. Made me feel like a grown-up. Maybe a few board games lying around. I don't want this lamp in the center because it just looks awkward there. Okay, now. I had said this could be a little office space. And then I put the office down there. So what could this space be? Maybe a baby room. We could keep the wallpaper once again. And then make it a little nursery. And maybe really a baby. Because then we could use this one. And I know babies don't need that yet, but like... I'd be amiss not to place that here, right? I like the idea with the baby room because that means you have to do some rearranging when the kid gets older. Little gift basket from the family. Okay, so now we need a little bit of decoration, like pictures on the wall and a rug maybe. Maybe we go down the funny dogs route again, like in the other kids' room. I don't know. Maps seem Victorian. I have no good reasoning for that. I just spent way too long looking for something. I want to do the hallway before I do the bathroom, I think. And then it's finally time to go outside. I've spent so long on this build. I'm actually surprised. I thought it would be quicker. I'll keep this as a creative then. A little callback to this. And a little bit of the pastel back in the game. A covered chair, maybe? I had that in the other build. I like the idea of... You know, in the beginning I said they were maybe living in an old house and would have some originals that they were excited to use. And I like the idea that this is maybe an old chair that they still have to restore. And so for now it's covered up. So I will enter the bathroom now. I will take the same stuff I took downstairs, I think. Don't know if I want to keep this. I think I could find something more Victorian, potentially. I mean, maybe this one actually. There's not so much chance to use this one. Maybe this one is better. It looks slightly more Victorian and at the very least it's pastel. I need something here. I'm in the same situation I was downstairs. Oh, and I forgot the radiators. I knew this would happen. Okay, I'm gonna place some radiators where I can fit them and where I can't. Well, too bad. The kids' rooms should have radiators. We could also maybe, because we have the space upstairs, consider a double sink with the counters I decided not to use for the kitchen. Then we would need a different mirror, I think. And I like that. I like the double sink. And they should be able to walk here. Shouldn't be bad. Balcony. So last time I didn't have any money left to give this any attention. This time it's different. So I want to have a chair there. And a candle. Okay, now garden and outside of house. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. So I think I want this more to the side here. Or no, scratch that because I do want a gate here. I want a little pathway here. Okay, this little gazebo thing, very, very Victorian. You can't convince me. Very, very useless as well. What? Oh, also, this thing said I wasn't allowed to use debug, and so far I haven't. I want a little garden, I think. Ah, that sucks. Just hiding the ugly edges. But on this side I have to make sure I'm not blocking the way, actually. I just had to fake that fence because it was like disgustingly clipping there. Apropos clipping. Yes, I knew it. Damn. Well, I'm all for easy fixes. So if I was using debug, I would use a stone path here. But I'm still planning on not to so far. What else can we do? Yeah, well, some food. This isn't very Victorian, but I think we'll get away with it. Okay, before I do landscaping, I want to dress up the house. This annoyed me. Hey! Where did that go? And I could paint the ceiling here. That's a good point, actually. This is doing a world of difference, honestly. If you ever do something like this and you feel like something is missing, like when you have a little overhang, find some of these corbels. It's really changing everything. Where do the roots come from? I don't know. This is The Sims. Doesn't have to make sense. Only when I decide it should make sense. And right now I decide I want green here. And it has roots. See, a little bit of green does a world of difference, especially on builds like this. Okay. This is a little bit prettier, I think, than having the trash can out in the open, and I think it fits. So... see you in about 5,000 plants placed, I guess. So I think I've done most of the landscaping. I've tried to keep it fairly similar in plans, not to do too much different stuff, just to do a little color coordinating, I think. Some painting under the porch and maybe also a telescope? This telescope looks more appropriate. And front porch could use some sort of bench, I believe. Okay, we're in our last few meters in this build. I am decorating the roof. Because Victorian homes have decorated roofs. Okay, I think I'll leave it at that for now and do a little bit of terrain painting. And when I'm done with that, I'll see you in the reveal. Okay, and here we are with the finished build. Admittedly, I got tired of it about 3/4 in, so it was kind of rushed in the end. But I still like it. I really like it now more so than I did when I first did the challenge. It looks much more Victorian Queen Anne now. That's because I actually had the budget to use items associated with the category. The biggest problem now was actually that a lot of these items don't match with the pastel colors that I was supposed to use. I kept with the limitation of rooms, which is why this entryway is still somewhat open for a Victorian home. First room is the kitchen. The kitchen is small and colorful. It now has some decorations and some tools you would need, and you know, it now actually looks like a kitchen that's in use. But it's not overly full with things because it was kind of hard to find Victorian and pastel things that would work together. As per room limitations, this dining section is open to the entryway, right next to the kitchen. We have a nice little cake display, some flying candles that I choose to ignore so that I could have a smaller candle holder here. And we have a master's chair, which I kind of like. We have a grandfather clock right here, very Victorian. And then when we head into the living room, initially I thought it was too small, but it actually works. It has the TV over the fireplace. That is not exactly Victorian, but the Victorian fireplaces were much too large for the room. It has some pictures, some candles, and a little bit of decoration. Now, before in this room you could only listen to music and that was basically it. I think you could also read. But now you can also watch TV and it looks more social. And then I added some playability by giving us a second bathroom downstairs. So A, Sims don't have to share one bathroom, and B, Sims can use it when downstairs, even in a clutch situation. It's a small half bath, but it's really adding a ton for playability. In this hallway section, we are entering a kind of office situation. So this is the office nook with an old-timey looking computer. Here is a little bar, and this is somewhat a waiting area to go to the office. And also this is where you can enter the porch to go to the garden. Upstairs, we encounter, first and foremost, a weird bug. But also then I left this creative nook that was here before. I thought it was kind of cute. I changed all the cheap lightings to these slightly more expensive but more on theme lightings. Additionally, you can do some skill building upstairs now. And I added this chair in because initially I thought if you were to live in an old restored home, you would keep some old furniture. Basically, I imagined this to be something that is yet to be restored, but they are wanting to use it already. Now, the upstairs bathroom is much larger. It has a bath shower combo, some storage. This thing that I just had to use because when are you gonna use it? And a double sink. Now we have far less Sims in this household now, but a double sink is always useful. When I say we have far less Sims in the household, I want to first go to the parental bedroom. The parental bedroom, I kept the wallpaper and I kept the bed. I enlarged the space significantly and moved the bed to this side of the room, leaving that side a pastel Victorian wonderland to get dressed and, you know, store some Victorian looking knickknacks. This is the private balcony of the parents where you can actually sit now. And it has some flooring, which it didn't have before. Right next to the parental bedroom is a little nursery. Because I really wanted to use the little Victorian bassinet. And it also has some changing table. Now, I know you don't need that for the infants that are or for the newborn babies that go into the bassinet, but I wanted to have it here. And also, I recognize you don't need a potty, but like, come on, in this build, I needed that. And the other room is for an older child. So this child has a bed, a Victorian-looking toy box, and, you know, some other toys and a desk. just a fully functioning kids' room. I wanted to mimic some Victorian dolls with this one. Well, as best as I could anyway. Now, going to the garden. You would enter the garden either through that gate on the side or over this porch. And in the garden, I kept it quite on brand with Victorian and pastel colors with this pink marble thingy and some other pink marble details, but generally this is a family garden space. The kid could, you know, play on the swings while the parents do some gardening over here. And because it came in pastels too, we have some bees. And we had this poodle garden statue before, and now we added another bush friend to it. And yeah, that's the build so far. I added some details to the shell as well. Most significantly, greenery. Because I think a house like this would be a little overgrown. I could have done even more than that, but it was getting kind of long. I hope you enjoyed that build. I had fun building it, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.